Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Power Is Now Home Buyer Seminar. My name is Uric, Frazier. It's a beautiful day in Southern California, a great day to talk about home ownership. And today we have a special homeownership seminar with Mount Zion Baptist Church in Richmond, California, where Pastor Redic serves as the pastor of the congregation now for many years. We also have Carolyn Sunseri, who is the Director of Marketing for the Golden State Finance Authority, and yours truly, representing First Bank. We'll be talking about down payment assistance and mortgage programs to help you make homeownership a reality. And so without any further ado, let's get to introductions. First, we'll start with Carolyn Sunseri. Carolyn, thank you so much for your partnership with The Power Is Now and with working with Mount Zion Baptist Church to have their first home buyer seminar.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. This is something that I am very passionate about, and I am excited to talk about how to help people become homeowners with down payment and closing cost assistance. I'm thrilled to be here and a part of this seminar with Mount Zion Church. So I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
Carolyn, I'm looking forward to your presentation on down payment assistance. As you know, we are all aware that the number one barrier to homeownership is still having the money for the down payment. And so yours is a very important segment, and I will be touching on additional down payment assistance programs as well. Also, thank you for your partnership with The Power Is Now as we launched last year, the Power Is Now Wealth Initiative, in which we're working with African-American churches and minority churches in general across the state and even the country to bring more awareness, to amplify the voice of organizations like yours that provide down payment assistance to the local community. And so it's a privilege and an honor for me to partner with pastors across the country. And here today, Pastor Redic of Mount Zion Baptist Church is hosting this seminar, their first homebuyer seminar online. And we really appreciate you, Pastor Redic, for taking the time to do this and to make homeownership a priority for your congregation.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here today with you all, and thank you for inviting us to host this home buyer seminar. Thank you, Carolyn, for being on the team this morning. We look forward to getting some good information that's going to help a lot of people become homeowners. And I just want to thank you again so very much. I'm happy to be here.
Pastor, as a tradition, when we conduct homebuyer seminars with churches, we definitely want a word from the pastor. Homeownership is so important, and it not just speaks to our physical, if you're not needs for housing, but there are many other wonderful benefits to homeownership that speak to our spiritual and emotional needs as well. And so we'd like you to take this opportunity to first introduce your church and to actually lead us in a word of prayer, open this up as pastors do, and then tell us about Mount Zion Baptist Church.
All right, thank you, sir. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this day, and we pray, oh Master, that we would glorify you. Thank you for this opportunity to share information that's going to minister to the entire person, oh Master. We thank you for our spiritual strength. We thank you for every area of life. And we pray now, Father, in the name of Jesus, that you would smile on this seminar. May it help a lot of people, and may you be well pleased with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, we are the Mount Zion Baptist Church of Richmond, California. Mount Zion has been on this corner for over 60 years. And we're at 253 5th Street in Richmond, California. I came to this church as a little boy. My parents brought me here. We were members of another church, and my great-grandmother traveled to California to visit her sister, who was a member of Mount Zion. So I came to this church as a little boy, and it was in the back of the lot. You had to walk through a very narrow pathway to get to the church. And then many decades later, I'm invited to be the pastor of that same church. And the church doesn't look like it looked when I was a boy. Now it's then when I came here, it was a 2-story building, very beautiful facility. And over the past 25 years that I've been here, the Lord has allowed us to expand the campus. We have a Christian education building. We have a multi-purpose building, and we've got additional parking. So God has allowed us to purchase surrounding properties, and it's a blessing to our church, and we're better able to serve our community by having a larger, a more diverse campus that we do. So Mount Zion is a place that I've enjoyed being on honeymoon for 25 years. I'm excited to see the people. They're excited to see me. And as I always say about people of Mount Zion, they are committed to the Lord and cooperative with me. I am a very, very blessed man. I want to say a word from the Bible as it relates to home ownership. The first book of the Bible is the book of Genesis. And throughout the book of Genesis, family, God's focus on the family is very noticeable. And then there's the Abraham, the father of the faithful. God calls Abraham out and makes Abraham's seed his chosen people, the Israelites, the Jewish people. And Abraham had a son, Isaac, and Isaac, Jacob. Now, Abraham, the Bible says, was a rich man. He had herds, he had servants, and one place we even find he puts his army together. So he's a very, very wealthy man. So home ownership is implied throughout these early chapters, but the first mention of somebody buying property for a home is in the 33rd chapter of Genesis. I'd like to read for you verse 9. I'll start with verse 18, Genesis 33:18. Now Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which was in the land of Canaan, when he came from Pandanaram and camped before the city. He bought the piece of land where he had pitched his tent from the hand of the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. Verse 20, then he erected there an altar and called it El Elohe Israel, which is translated the mighty God of Israel. So Jacob, like his father and grandfather, purchased property. And when Jacob bought this property, he erected an altar there, a place of worship. When we look at the African-American experience with purchasing real estate in the United States, we see our great-grandparents, most in the southern part of this country, buying property. People without a lot of education, people without a lot of money, but wisdom enough to know the importance of home ownership. I took my family to Arkansas in 1994. I wanted to visit where my great-grandfather lived. My sister and I had to come to Arkansas every summer on the train to spend time with great-grandfather. And so I have my own family now. In 1994, I had a new four-wheel drive SUV. We weren't even calling them SUVs in 1994, but we packed our 6 children in that Suburban, went to Arkansas, and no one would take me back in those woods. They call them the sticks, because there's nobody living back there anymore. Nobody back there. So I went to the county seat. I got the map, but I also got the deeds for that property. And looking at the map, there were 40-acre parcels. Grandfather owned one, great-grandfather owned one, and another one of his sons owned one. And my wife's father or ancestor owned the one next to it. And so where the 4 parcels came together, they homesteaded so they can have a neighbor. I had always thought that the government gave African Americans 40 acres and a mule.
Right. Not
so. They bought these 40-acre parcels way back then. The importance of home ownership and the importance of having community. And back in those woods, they also erected churches, houses of worship, just like Jacob did in our text today. And when we find African Americans moving west, north, and other places, I'll take LA, Eric, for example, when African Americans started buying real estate in Los Angeles, they would likewise build houses of worship there. Here in, there's a area of Los Angeles, I understand, called Sugar Hill. And Sugar Hill is a place that was middle and upper class, I think mostly upper class African Americans. And they fought for the rights to purchase property there. There were discriminatory laws in effect. There was covenants with the white owner saying, if you sell this property, you will not sell it to African Americans. And they fought that. They won that court case, and they were able to buy properties there. Mm-hmm. Let's come back to Northern California now, Richmond. When African Americans start moving to Richmond, California, when my parents moved here, the neighborhood that we moved into, there were still white people in the neighborhood. But as Blacks were moving in, whites were moving out. There were houses of worship already here. And when there wasn't enough white members to maintain that ministry, they sold those churches to African Americans. So many of the predominantly African American houses of worship in Richmond were purchased from white Christians as they moved out. Mount Zion was not one of those. Mount Zion was built from the ground up, property purchase, and the church was built. And what we see is the importance of home ownership and the importance of houses of worship. There's a connection right there. The spiritual needs are tied to the economic benefits of home ownership. So when Jacob moves his family to this spot, he buys the land, builds a home, builds a place of worship. Now, one of the sad things we see is the decline of African American home ownership. Yes. If you can believe the statistics, we are at a level that we were at in the 60s in home ownership, and it's steadily declining. I know that many African Americans are moving from the Bay Area and going back south. And people have a right to move wherever they want to move. However, we're moving back where great grandpa and grandmother tried to get out of, and we're walking they say walking backwards, going back to where they came from. I would love to see more African Americans buying homes in Richmond. African Americans move out of this city. It's rare that you hear about African Americans moving to Richmond, California. And if the trend continues, where our churches are mainly commuters instead of the community surrounding the churches won't last as they are. They'll be just as when the whites moved out of Richmond and the churches became predominantly African Americans. As African Americans move out of Richmond and Latinos move into Richmond, some of these predominantly African American churches will be sold to the Latino community. It's happening already. Churches will merge. And if there's no African American community, there will be not very many African American churches in this city. I would love to see the situation turned around. It would be historical for African Americans to come back to a city other than the South and repopulate it with homeowners. It would be good for the community. It would be good for the church. And I'm looking forward to helping by sharing this information today from Uric and Carolyn, that we'll be able to get good info to people about home ownership. And lastly, the idea of generational wealth. So great-grandfather purchased the property in Arkansas, 40 acres. His son has 40 acres. And so what has happened to those properties through the decades is we moved to California, and the generations are saying, well, nobody's going to move back there. And so let's sell the properties. So our family has sold those 40 acres and that's other 40 acres. And there's even a group now trying to help African Americans hold on to that family property, forming LLCs, et cetera. And it's just, when you don't own the land, you're at the mercy of the owner. And when we pass away, we won't be able to leave anything to our children and grandchildren as our forefathers left for us. So it is my prayer that we would turn this trend around and begin to start buying again homes in the Bay Area. Thank you.
You know, I really appreciate what you're saying about strengthening the community, but I'd like to take it even a step further. You see it in your congregation. You're sharing these thoughts and ideas, but it's backed by actual studies. There's a study from the National Association of Realtors in 2016. These studies get reaffirmed every couple of years. That home ownership actually stabilizes neighborhoods, that it stabilizes the economy of the neighborhoods and the community, because people start putting down roots. They start more civic engagement, that home ownership and that permanence within the family increases the amount of education to their children. They're engaged in what is going on in their community and supporting endeavors to strengthen it, to bring in better infrastructure. And all of these things can actually yield better physical and mental health for families as well. And so it's not just about, you know, the future and building some financial security through real estate, which is a wonderful way to do that for your families and for your future, but it's about changing the impact now. And your words have so much impact. They are supported by research and actual surveys and feedback from people as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor, I appreciate your explanation of Genesis 33 and verse 18 to 20. And this is one of the reasons why I love interviewing pastors. Folks, if you get a chance, watch the homeownership interview I did with Pastor Redic, talking about his own personal journey to home ownership. And so here's a pastor who is definitely practicing what he is preaching, and that is the value of home ownership. And so thank you again, Pastor, for your participation in our homeownership series. In Genesis 33, I love the connection you're bringing between buying land and homeownership and houses of worship. And so often it is that the church, in fact, my favorite saying is there's basically three institutions in the African-American community. There is the church, where the pastor is truly the unofficial mayor, the leader of the community. Everybody goes to the pastor, and the pastor knows everybody and can put you in the right direction if he doesn't know how to help you directly. Then there's the barber shop, which, everybody comes to the barber shop. If you want to know something, first you get, cleaned up and ready for the week, and you talk with others that look like you, and hear from master barbers who've been in the community forever, who know everything. And the last institution is Big Mama's house, where the elderly, older woman who was raised a big family, involved in community politics. Everybody knows Big Mama. Go see Big Mama if you have a problem. And so these are, I would say, the trifecta, if you will, of the centers of influence in the African-American community. And to see that, even from a biblical perspective, that, God's chosen people made, the support of a house of worship a priority. And they established roots in that community by buying the land and then helping to build the church. I think that's powerful. And I think that's one of the reasons why I appreciate Golden State and other organizations who are partnering with the Powers now as we reach out to African-American churches across the country, and particularly here in California, to bring the information and the knowledge of homeownership. It is so, so important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I'm glad to participate.
Well, folks, there you have it. Pastor Redic out of Richmond, California, Mount Zion Baptist Church. Pastor, before we move on to the presentation from Carolyn, if you could just provide your contact information, address, and website. We want to encourage everyone who is watching or listening to the podcast to please go see Pastor Redic.
Thank you. Again, we're at 253 5th Street, Richmond, California. Our website is mzrich, mzrich.org. And if you can find us on Facebook, 11 o'clock on Sunday mornings, and also at 7 p.m. on Wednesday nights for Bible study. That's the Mount Zion Baptist Church of Richmond, California Facebook page. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Redic. Next up is Carolyn Sunseri, Director of Marketing for the Golden State Finance Authority. And I just want to take a moment here to express my appreciation to the Golden State Finance Authority for not only having some incredible programs that are making a difference for Californians, but with partnering up with the Powers now. We are a media company with a singular focus on housing and homeownership. That's all we do. That's all we talk about. And if you go to our website, you will see the Mortgage Spotlight, in which Carolyn has just completed, we've over a year now, we have been completing a series of interviews and discussions about their programs. And so what you may not get today, you certainly can get in greater detail on our website and also on the Golden State Finance Authority website. They're partnering with us and the African American Church Initiative, in which we're reaching out to Black churches throughout the state to educate their members and their leadership about homeownership. And again, I really appreciate her taking time today to join us in this webinar. Thank you again, Carolyn.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here because the information that I'd like to share today has really one common theme or question, and that is, what can down payment assistance do for you? Golden State Finance Authority is a public agency that has been providing financial assistance programs in California to help people purchase homes for almost 30 years. We've helped over 84,000 individuals and families to purchase homes, and we've been able to provide down payment and closing cost assistance of over $645 million. In California, one of the most challenging things to purchasing a home is coming up with the associated money involved. As we all know, it's more than just qualifying for a mortgage loan. It's also the down payment that's required to get into a home purchase. And then there's closing costs as well. And a lot of first-time home buyers aren't even aware that that can add tens of thousands of dollars to the cost as well. But here we are in a state that is very unaffordable. Rents continue to rise. We know that interest rates are going up little by little this year, and people are often feeling very priced out of home ownership. And so Golden State Finance Authority is here to bridge that affordability gap. And the way that we do that is that we tack on a certain amount of money to help the borrower with their down and their closing costs. And that is added to the transaction. So in addition to getting a mortgage loan, they're qualifying for down payment and closing cost assistance. The example that you see here is on the purchase of a home at about $650,000. Now with an FHA loan, about 3.5% would be required down from the home buyer, and that's about $22,000. But with one of the down payment assistance programs from Golden State Finance Authority, we could actually provide this borrower $35,000 in assistance. That's enough to cover all of that down payment and leave them with a little over $5,000 to put towards closing costs as well. The goal of these programs is to help you purchase with as little money out of pocket. Now imagine what that can do for you. Oftentimes, this means that someone doesn't have to spend years saving up money, trying to put away little by little until they have $20,000, $30,000 to put towards buying a home. We could actually help you purchase now and get started, both on building financial security for the future, but on putting those roots down and building your own security through home ownership and strengthening your own community. Now, this example was based on a $650,000 house. We also, of course, can provide assistance on home prices that are less than this as well. But I wanted to give you an example of the impact that a down payment assistance program could have. And a lot of people are very concerned. This just sounds too good to be true. And there's many myths out there about down payment assistance, that they create too much work, or that they're harder to qualify for, or that they're only for first-time home buyers, or a big one, you have to have perfect credit. And these things just don't exist in the down payment assistance programs from Golden State Finance Authority. We have very flexible guidelines. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer to qualify. You can use the money for your down or for your closing costs, or you can even couple it with your own funds and just help lower that mortgage loan, lower your payment. Our FICO scores go as low as 620, and that's not perfect credit. So that gives a lot of people more flexibility, and it's available through the entire state of California. Two of our programs exist today. The first one is called Platinum, and it provides up to 5% in assistance. So 5% of your loan amount can be provided by Golden State Finance Authority for your down and your closing costs. For certain borrowers that work in public service employment, for example, law enforcement, or for emergency support and first responders, anyone who works in medical or healthcare, and anyone who works for a public or private school or education institution, whether they are support staff or these are the people on the front lines, you can qualify for assistance through Platinum as a gift. That means when escrow closes and you sign that title, you actually have all of this assistance forgiven immediately. For the rest of our borrowers, it may be forgivable after 3 years, or it may need to be paid back at a future date, depending on how you qualify and actually where you work. And that's where a loan officer can get into the specifics on the form of the assistance for you. But even if the assistance does have to be paid back at a future date, we don't charge any interest on it. You're not having to pay on that money. You're not accruing any interest on that money. And as you build equity, the longer you stay in that home, the easier it will be at some point when you do have to pay back a portion or all of those funds. We allow our FICO scores down to 640 with the Platinum program. And we have very flexible debt to income ratios, up to 50% actually. Our other program is called Open Doors. And like Platinum, it provides down payment and closing cost assistance, but it can go up to 7%, just making more funds available to a home buyer if you have no money of your own to put towards purchasing a home. And it has a little bit more flexibility. We can allow FICO scores down to 620. The structure of the actual assistance is part gift and part of it is paid back at a future date, but again, not accruing any interest along the way. Both of these programs are just tools to help you get started on the way to home ownership, hopefully sooner than you thought possible. The programs are for the purchase of a primary residence. So you would need to be occupying the property after you actually purchase. These are all 30-year fixed rate loans. We have conventional loans. We also have government loans, FHA, VA, and USDA. We can loan up to $647,200. And again, that's the loan amount. Doesn't mean that there's a purchase price limit. We have very flexible income limits. For our government loans, there are no income limits. For our conventional loans, it's low and moderate income. And just as an example, down in Southern California, the income limits are up to $160,000, $180,000. So it is very flexible and accessible to even moderate income borrowers. When you're looking at, does this make sense to you? Should I be buying a home where I am getting assistance rather than putting my own cash towards the transaction? Really good questions to consider is how long would it take you to traditionally save up that money? And would you be missing out on the equity that that property could be building? And if you're facing increases in rent, that's another good way to look at it. You're giving money to a landlord versus building some financial security with your own property. And then how long are you looking to remain in that home? The goal of down payment assistance is to help you purchase with as little money out of pocket, maybe sooner than if you had to save up for the down payment. And you can start building financial security now rather than waiting. This is where we really encourage you to sit down with a loan officer and talk about your individual situation. Maybe you even have challenges that you've faced in the past, financial challenges, or maybe today. This is where we really encourage you to sit down, talk to a loan officer about your individual situation and which type of assistance program might help you and how to prepare, because maybe it will take 4 or 5 months to prepare yourself to afford that mortgage or to be qualified for a mortgage loan. The process itself with Golden State Finance Authority is very easy. We leave the vast majority of the responsibility to our lenders. There's no additional compliance review step. So once you're qualified and you lock in your interest rate on your first mortgage, you get a commitment letter from us that those down payment assistance funds will be there when you close your mortgage. And then we allow the lender to go ahead and close escrow as they normally would, keeping your entire escrow transaction on time. Now, this was a lot of information, and I don't want you to take my word for it. We have actually published a series called Journey to Home Ownership. It's available on our YouTube channel. You can access it via our website. You can access it via the Powers Now website, where we tell true stories. We let homeowners actually tell about their journeys to home ownership, and often even sharing challenges they had that made them think that home ownership wasn't possible, and yet it was. So please visit our YouTube channel or website and watch those shows, learn more about our programs, and reach out to us with questions. The most important part of getting started is to be working with a participating lender. Our lenders are listed on the website, but as part of this seminar, you have here Uric Frazier with First Bank. He's going to leave his contact information at the end of this presentation, so you can reach out to him and get started today with your questions. It's important that you do sit down with that loan officer so they can go over all of the program guidelines. And I really do encourage you to get started today. And I hope that the down payment assistance programs from Golden State Finance Authority can help you become a homeowner. So thank you.
Carolyn, thank you again for such a great presentation on down payment assistance and all the reasons why everyone should take advantage of the wonderful opportunity, especially for first responders and teachers, where the money is a complete grant. That is, it's a game changer for many people who are still struggling to save the money for down payment. Pastor Redic, do you happen to know how many people in your church are not homeowners, or is there a pretty good percentage of members that are not, that could use this free money?
We have a large percentage of people who are not homeowners and would be able to take advantage of this program. Some have never owned a home, but some owned a home and lost a home when we had this real estate crisis some years ago. They just got upside down and lost their homes. And some of those folks think that they'll never be able to own again. But with a program like this, it's not only possible, it's probable that they'll be able to get back into the home ownership. One of the things that struck me, Carolyn, you said that it may take 4 to 6 months to prepare yourself for home ownership. That is going to surprise so many people like it surprised me. I'm thinking it's going to take years to build credit, to get situated again. And you said it could happen in as little as 4 to 6 months. That sounds great.
You know, I really want to encourage people to check out the video series that Golden State Finance Authority has been doing with the Powers Now Media and Uric in particular. We're about to put out part 5 of our homeownership series in the next couple of weeks. I think it comes out about the 1st of June. And it's all about people who have specific challenges and circumstances that they think limits them from home ownership. We dive deep into the actual qualifying for a mortgage loan. What are FICO scores? What does that mean? How do I build my credit? How do I handle maybe some negatives on my credit? And one of the things, and we talk about a multitude of issues about qualifying, but one of the things that we repeat over and over, and we use real life scenarios to drive this home, is that people self-diagnose themselves out of being a homeowner. They think that I had a bankruptcy, it's out of the question. I have an open collection account, it's out of the question. You know, I don't have enough income, when maybe a co-borrower is another opportunity for them. And it doesn't always take years and years to clean up credit, to bring it up to where they can qualify. 620 is not perfect credit by any means. There is a lot of flexibility within FHA and even conventional financing for people who lost their homes in the past. So yes, it surprised me as I delved deeper into talking with Eric with First Bank about qualifying for a mortgage and how soon you really can start preparing yourself to be in a better financial position.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to getting this information out to our people, to direct them to the YouTube channel to see these amazing stories. Thank you so very much.
They are amazing too, and they're real scenarios, and we certainly hope everyone will tune in. Carolyn, another, I think, important piece of your presentation is the ability to use down payment assistance to buy multiple unit properties. Now, we know that at the top of the food chain, if you will, of conventional financing is the 4-unit property. And those properties are selling, you know, $800, $900, $1 million, you know, but with your program, a person could find a 2-unit or maybe even a 3-unit that is within your conforming loan limit. Can you speak to that?
Yes, there's quite a bit of flexibility on the types of properties that you can qualify for down payment assistance on. We allow condos. In certain situations, manufactured homes can be financed, and 1 to 4 units can qualify under our programs. And a lot of people think of a home as only a single family home on its own plot of land, and they forget that, you know, there's other structures of homes. There's condominiums, there's townhouses, and even duplexes where they could rent out one side and live in the other. That's income, an income generating source. And your first home, or even your second, doesn't have to be your forever home, but it definitely is the step to getting you started in real estate. And if you can live in one side of the property, rent out the other side for some income, it can actually help you qualify for the mortgage loan itself. That income is a factor in qualifying you. And so I think I want to encourage people to get outside of the box, you know, to stop picturing exactly what this house looks like.
Yeah.
And think of it in terms of what they can build it to become, you know?
Thank you again, Carolyn, for, again, a great presentation, great information. Folks, if you would like to get more information about the Golden State Finance Authority programs, please reach out to me. As Carolyn mentioned, I am a participating, First Bank is a participating lender for the Golden State Finance Authority. And you can reach me at 714-475-8629 or drop me an email at eric.frazier at FBLL, Frank Ball Olive Love, FBLL.com. So now let's talk about more loan programs offered by First Bank. In addition to being the host of the Powers Now, President CEO, I'm also a Vice President and Mortgage Advisor with First Bank. My license number is 461807. The views and opinions that I express are my own and do not necessarily represent that of First Bank outside of homeownership and loan programs. But First Bank has been around since 1910. It's a privately held bank, believe it or not, owned by the Dieberg family since 1910. I believe the chairman of the board is like the 4th or 5th generation son. Isn't that amazing to be able to have your own bank for years, Pastor Redic? I mean, I aspire to achieving something like that for my own family one day. Now, they, as a private bank, a privately held bank, are a full service bank. And so we're in Richmond today. You'll find branches in San Pablo, Walnut Creek, San Francisco, out there in the Fairfield area as well. And so we have branches where you can go in and, you know, open up a checking and savings account, get an auto loan, or get a home mortgage, or take care of any trust our investment-related services, a full-service bank, have been around for a long time. As a mortgage advisor, my job is to educate and to inform you about the various programs that are available. I'm not here to sell you anything. I mean, if anything, you're already sold on the need to buy a home, and you just need information. That's why we're doing this seminar, this information on the types of programs that are available to you. I come across people from every walk of life. I mean, from extremely wealthy people with millions in the bank that don't want to pay cash for a house, and they're looking to buy a $5 million home. Well, First Bank can finance up to $3 million, up to 25% down, if that's what you're looking for. Some individuals love interest-only programs or adjustable rate programs. And maybe for the first-time home buyer, that seems a little too risky. But for someone who has, experience in buying property, has a lot of money, a lot of wealth already, they're okay with taking on the risk associated with an interest-only or an adjustable rate product, because the rates are really super low. I'm talking, in the low threes. And so, but for those products, you need 20% down and really good credit, 720, 740 FICO scores. And so we can help those who are operating at the highest levels of success and money and what have you. And we can also help those who are just getting into the game. As you just heard, we're a lending partner with the Golden State Finance Authority, and they provide down payment assistance, which is incredible. And depending on your position, you may be able to get the money as a grant. We are also approved lenders with the California Housing Finance Authority, and that they're providing up to 10% in down payment assistance to individuals whose incomes are 80% or less than the area median income. That's pretty amazing. And we're talking up to the conforming limit, which is a lot of money. That's a lot of money and down payment assistance. Now, of course, there are other programs they offer as well, up to high balance. And that's one of the biggest differences between, I would say, the Golden State and the California Housing Finance Agency, is that they'll go up to the high balance limit, which is $970,000. $970,000, I think 400, I believe is the number. It's a lot of loan, right? That you're buying a big house. And unfortunately, for many first-time home buyers who are living in high-cost areas like San Francisco and Oakland and certain parts of Richmond, and they're going to spend $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 for a home. And if they're looking to buy a 4-unit property, well, it's even more money. Now, the California Housing Finance Agency will only work with you if you're a first-time home buyer. As opposed to Golden State, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. The California Housing Finance Agency will only help you with buying a single-family home. Now, if there's an ADU, you can do that as well. So love those houses with mother-in-law units on them, or ADUs, accessory dwelling units is what that means. And so they'll help you finance that. And they have some exceptions for the first-time homebuyer rule, like if your property's been destroyed in a fire, major disaster within the last 3 years, or if you are, say, buying something for the first time after 3 years. After 3 years, you're considered a first-time homebuyer, and that's a rule that applies to most programs. And then there are a few other exceptions as well, where you may have inherited property, but you've never moved into that property. So you own property, but you never moved into it. It's always been a rental, and you can prove that. Then you would still be considered a first-time home buyer and would be able to take advantage of some of their incredible programs. Now, the California Housing Finance Agency is an actual agency of the state. And man, do we need them, because as you know, California is a high-cost state. Property values have been increasing in the double-digit rates now for years. And if you understand compound interest, which is based on the rule of 72, and that is whatever the rate of appreciation is of anything, whether it be interest you're getting money sitting in the bank, or the appreciation of an asset over time. Whatever that rate of appreciation is, divided into 72, determines how quickly that asset will grow. So for example, if I'm getting 7.2% annual appreciation on my home, and if I divide that 7.2 into 72, that's 10, right? So that means every 10 years, my home is going to double in value if that is the average. And we know, we've watched this over the last 15 years, we watched appreciation go from 7 to 12 to 15 to 19% in certain areas. It just depends on the density of the area, the location, and all these things. And so, you know, the rate of appreciation is going to change year over year. But if the average is 7% or higher, that means a property bought for $500,000 today is going to be $1 million 10 years from now. And then that same property at $1 million 10 years from now, if it continues to average, 7% will be $2 million in 20 years. This is why acquiring real estate is a game changer for most families. I have many first-time home buyers that I helped purchase a home a year ago, 2 years ago, some 5 years ago. Those 5 years ago, in fact, there's one person that comes to mind. She purchased a 4-unit building for $800,000. Today, that building, this is not even 4 years. It's just shy of 4 years. Today, that building is worth $1.4 million. When she moved in, the cash flow she had because of the rents from the other units was not only enough to make the mortgage payment, but she had at least about $700 left over. Today, that cash flow is close to $3,000. You know, that's again after paying the mortgage. And so she had the combination of increased property value as well as income. That's one of the benefits of buying a 4-unit property. I have others who just purchased a year ago, and their properties are now $100,000 more in value. I spoke to a client yesterday who purchased a home 3 years ago for $250,000 in beautiful Rialto, California, out here in the Inland Empire. And that house today, according to Zillow, is $550,000. And she's asking me whether she should sell and buy another house because she needs some more space, or if she should rent it out. Her payment, by the way, is $1,300 a month, and she's paying the market rent on that property. If she were to just move out and keep paying down that mortgage, today the market rent on that property is $2,300 a month. Now get this, she bought this house using down payment assistance, and she got enough at that time where she had to hardly bring any money in at all to close. And here she is now, just under 5 years ago, sitting on $250,000. Since then, she's got a couple of promotions on her job. She's making a lot more money, and she's looking to move up. Now, I'm going to be interviewing her for our homeownership series to talk about, you know, the decision-making process and what her next move is. But let me share this with you. You don't build wealth selling real estate. You build wealth by holding on to real estate. And if you sell real estate, you don't build wealth by selling the real estate and then consuming all the equity that just came out of the blue. I mean, understand, this lady is sitting on $250,000, and none of it is her own money. If the only money she can count as hers is the difference between what the mortgage was now or 5 years ago and what it is now, how much she's actually paid down from her earnings on that mortgage. That's her money. But the rest, it's not her money. That's market money from being in the game. And as a result of being in the game, she is sitting on $250,000, wondering about her next move. And I gave her a number of suggestions. And so you don't build wealth by selling real estate. You build wealth by acquiring and holding on to real estate. And so in her case, she could sell this property, take 100% of the equity and roll that into another property to keep her debt service low and allow the appreciation to continue. That's one option. Or she could not. She's been able to save money. She could use down payment assistance again with the Golden State Finance Authority and buy another property using their money and the money she saved, and then rent this property out and have $1,000 a month in cash flow. And so that's the power of leveraging loan programs, down payment assistance, whether it be the Golden State Finance Authority or the California Housing Finance Agency. They can provide you as much as, well, 3 to 3%, 3.5%, 3% on a conventional loan for the down payment, and which is the minimum down payment, by the way, 3.5% on a government loan, which is the minimum down payment. They'll give you that money as a loan. You don't have to pay it back until you sell the property, or if you refinance, that's when you have to pay it back. Until then, you know, that money just sits there. It's money available to you to get into a property. On top of that, they will help you with closing costs, up to 3% for closing costs, either program. And so for conventional and VA loans, and it's 3% in down payment assistance. For FHA loans, it's 3.5% in down payment. FHA, USDA, 3.5% in down payment assistance. And then you have the closing cost assistance of an additional 3%. And then if you're under 80% of the area median income, you have 10% to work with for down payment assistance and closing cost assistance. And so many of my clients have been able to leverage that program because they're buying way above the conforming limit of 670,000, I believe, 640. They need more money. They need more money. Now, in either case, both programs don't have a sales, well, they don't have a sales price limit. So if you're looking to get just help, you want additional cash and you're buying way above the limit, get the free money, we'll go to the state. They'll give you up to 5%, up to, you know, on the open door program, up to 7%. Not all of that is a gift though. Half of that may be a gift, the other half may be a loan that you'll have to pay back. You just add that to the money you have and purchase the property at whatever purchase price you can afford. And so there's flexibility, folks. And I'm just proud to say that First Bank has the program, whether you are extraordinarily rich with money to burn and you've got 20, 30, 40% put down, you just want the best and the lowest interest rate, you want an adjustable rate product, you want an interest-only product, we got you. Are you the first-time home buyer and you just wanted to get in where you fit in? We have debt, we have, you know, down payment assistance to help you. We have money available to help you get in, enough money where, depending on the market and the situation, you may only need a few $1,000s, maybe 1% or 2% of your own money to close on that transaction. It's very difficult to have a no money down situation. In fact, especially in the market we've been in the last 15 years, we've been in the seller's market, and the way things are looking, we're going to continue to be in a seller's market for a while. And so normally in a buyer's market, the seller is willing to help out the buyer, even 2 or 3% in closing cost credit. And that added with down payment assistance, now you have a no money down situation. I mean, you literally can buy a home with no money down. And I have helped hundreds of people get into a home with no money down in a buyer's market. But this, folks, is not a buyer's market. Buyers today are paying between 5 to 10% above the list price in order to get into a home. And the reason why is because there is hardly any homes for sale. The great financial crisis in 2008 stopped all new construction. And as a result of that, where we were building almost 200,000 units a year, we're less than 100,000 units a year. There's a shortfall of close to 1.5 to 2 million homes, a shortfall to meet the current population. Forget about the future. California currently is at 40 million. We're predicting that we will be at 50 million by 2050. Where are all those people going to live? And so with no new construction happening of any significance, I mean, go to any new home project and now they're having lotteries. I mean, give me a break. They're having lotteries. They're actually you're actually having to bid on new construction now. That has never happened before. Typically, when a house is for sale, brand new construction, the price is the price. The builders don't negotiate. You know, you can do some upgrades, you can add to your price and doing some upgrades, but they're not trying to come at you and say, well, give me your best offer. That's what they're doing now. New construction. New construction. It's unbelievable what's happening. And they're not building, you know, back in the day, 2008 or prior to that, a builder would knock out 300 homes in their first phase, or at least 100, right? And there would be plenty of homes to buy. Not anymore. A phase could be 10 properties, right? Even less than that. And they're opening up one phase at a time. And as soon as they open up a phase, all the homes are gone. And so it's a challenging market, and it's going to continue to be a challenging market. And so if you're out there with your agent looking to buy, please don't waste your realtor's time making offers at list price. It's not going to go down at list price. It's going to go down, and your agent can do an analysis to determine what all the other properties that have sold within the last 6 months have sold at. And they'll tell you that they're between 5 to 10% above list price. And you got to be ready to play that game. This is why the Golden State Finance Authority and the California Housing Finance Authority are two really important programs to help you get into a home. Because if you do have to come in with more money, well, then there's your help you need to make that difference. So these programs are not just for people who don't have any money. You can have the money you need for a 20% down, no mortgage insurance program. And you may want to consider getting approved under either one of those programs to buy a home now, because if you're trying to make offers at list price, it's just simply not going to happen. And so the market is changing. And as a result of the decrease in inventory as well as rising interest rates, we're seeing that many people who would normally be selling their homes, like me, a baby boomer, are not. Many people are deciding to stay because where are we going to go? I mean, to pay, you know, almost 2 times for the same house or a smaller house than we paid for our home originally doesn't make any sense for a lot of baby boomers. And so we need new construction. Eventually, as the baby boomers get even older, they're going to have to sell and downsize. And so the problem we have with inventory and rising prices is really structural. I'm not sure if the builder community will be able to build enough homes to meet the ever-growing population in California, the migration to California because of our incredible GDP and our economy. This is a place to live and to be for 1,000 reasons. And so if you can get a piece of real estate in California, you need to do it by any means necessary. And First Bank has the programs to make it happen. Now, another thing that First Bank does, in addition to down payment assistance, is we offer programs for professionals. And it's called the Professional Program. It's for medical doctors. And a medical doctor could also be a dentist, or that's a medical doctor. You know, anyone with an MD degree as well as a specialty is a medical doctor. Doctors, attorneys. And of course, you have to be practicing. You cannot be retired. So you have to be active in the profession as a medical doctor, active in the profession as an attorney. Also CPAs, certified public accountants, active, either working or self-employed in the profession. And let's see, PhDs. If you are a university professor, college professor, or even high school teacher, if you have your PhD, you're eligible for this program. Now, let me tell you about this program. It's really remarkable. It's called the Professional Program, and our stated guidelines is $750,000. So, you know, I go to the manual, look it up, maximum loan amount, it says $750,000. Now, the bank needs to change it because it's rare that we're even able to do a loan for a professional at $750,000. Most of them are $1 million, $1.5 million, even $2 million. It just depends on where the person is trying to buy. You can purchase a home under the Professional Program with as little as 5% down. 5% down, And get this, no mortgage insurance at all. No mortgage insurance. Now, it's tied to what is called an intermediate adjustable rate mortgage. That means it's fixed for a period of years, then it converts to an adjustable rate mortgage for remaining term. In this case, it's a 7-1 ARM. Fixed for 7 years, then it converts. Now, because it's an intermediate ARM, the rate is crazy low, folks. I'm talking in the low 3s. And you can even buy it down below that. And so if you're a professional, you're able to take advantage of the professional program, buy a great house because, you just got out of, you're in your residency, no problem, we can help you. You just graduated from medical school and you have a contract to go work, we will fund your loan on the contract. Same thing with attorneys, you just graduated and got a job. We will fund your loan on your contract or employment as long as you start, at least your start date is before your first payment due date. All right, you got to be in the job and working. We will fund the loan, so you don't have to move and rent before you buy. This is a game changer for many professionals. And, I live in Riverside. And for those of you who live in LA or some in Oakland, there's hospitals, major hospitals, huge law firms, major universities. And so if you're listening or watching and you happen to be a professional, please reach out to me. Do I have a program for you that will help you get into the game? You gotta have good credit, right? 720 FICO score minimum. Gotta have good credit and have to be, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. You can be brand new to your profession. But if you've been in the game for a while, you're an established doctor, then of course, standard underwriting guidelines apply. Self-employed borrowers, 2 years, wage earners, you gotta be at least 2 years in the profession working. So that's the professional program. We also offer new construction. And basically, if you own the land or you acquire the land, we will give you 80% of the cost to build. And that is an option for many people today. Instead of buying something that's on the market already, buy the land and build. Now, that's an expensive proposition. First, you got to own the land, right? There's got to be enough equity in the land. And then you got to have 20% at a minimum of the cost to build the property. And add to that, you got to have at least 10% and contingency reserves to, in case there's any cost overrides, or overruns, is what I'm trying to say. Any cost overruns, you need to have a contingency, which is about 10% of the project. And of course, you have to have reserves. And depending on the loan amount, it could be 3 to 6 months in reserve. So, building a house is not for everybody. Right? It is not. There are programs out there that we do not have where you can build a home with as little as 3.5% down. But for First Bank, we offer a conventional product, 20% down the total cost to build, and it has to be owner occupied. We've got to start the project. We will not go into a project that's already started, so you've got to start with us from the beginning, whether it be land acquisition or you own the land already, but you haven't broken any ground. That's when we can get started. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer, but you do. It needs to be your primary residence to build the property. All right, so the new construction professional program, Cal FHA, Golden State, interest-only programs, folks. We have it. Just imagine just only being required to pay the interest and the property taxes and the insurance. That's all. We have those programs as well. And that's ideal for anybody looking to kind of maximize their cash flow, right? They have no intentions of paying off the property. They want to leverage the tax benefits of the property. They also know they're going to be moving or making another move in 7 to 10 years. We have that product as well. Okay, so that's about it, Pastor Redic and Carolyn, what First Bank has to offer. If you want more details on the programs or you'd like to meet with me, please go to neverrentagain.com. neverrentagain.com. Now, on that website, you'll see my calendar. You can schedule an appointment to meet with me. And if you have questions for Carolyn or you want to reach out to Pastor Redic, I will help you make that connection. You'll also see an appointment where you can, not an appointment, but a link where you can actually apply for the loan. You can just get pre-approved now for either Golden State or Cal FHA. And we have other down payment assistance programs, folks, that I don't even have time to get into to help you get into a home. So go to neverrentagain.com. And there you'll find, again, my online calendar to schedule time to meet with me, the link to apply to get started with the pre-approval process. Also, if you would like to learn more about various programs that are available, go to buyhomeseminars.com. And there you'll find all seminars we have coming up, not only in California, but across the country. We are adding seminars every week to buyhomeseminars.com, where you can get more information, learn more about home ownership. Well, that's my presentation. Again, Carolyn and Pastor Redic, do you have any questions for me?
I don't have any questions, Eric. You've been very thorough. The programs are as diverse as the population that I serve. And I'm sure that you'll be hearing from us. And I just encourage everybody to contact you and let's build some wealth. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Redic. And I totally agree. Knowledge is power, right? And with power comes the ability to build wealth. And that's what we're doing here today. Thank you again, Pastor Redic, and thank you, Carolyn Sunseri with Golden State Finance Authority for being with us today. And for those of you who are watching, if you would like more information, please utilize the websites on the screen. Again, Never Lease Again, or Never Rent Again, and also Never Lease Again, both work. Neverrentagain.com is the way you can reach me, schedule an appointment, or you can call me at 714-475-8629. Pastor Redic, if you could, for the final time, provide your contact information. I want to encourage those of you who are in Richmond, California, please go check out Mount Zion Baptist Church. And also, if you are connected with a church in your local community, join us in this effort to bring this information to churches across the country, no matter where you might be, particularly here in California. And Pastor Redic, I really appreciate your partnership with the Powers Now Wealth Initiative and helping to bring other churches involved in these series of seminars to help their members become homeowners.
All right. Well, thank you. We're happy to participate, and we appreciate all this great knowledge. To God be the glory. This is a very, very important part of community. So just thank you so much. We're at 253 5th Street in Richmond, California. You can visit us in person, or you can visit us at our Mount Zion Baptist Church of Richmond, California Facebook page. We're located at 253 5th Street in the city of Pride and Purpose, Richmond, California. God bless you all. And thanks again, Eric. Thank you so much, Carolyn.
Thank you again for participating in this webinar. If you have any questions at all about down payment assistance or loan programs, please reach out to me, Eric Frazier, at 714-475-8629, or go to neverrentagain.com, and schedule a time where we can meet and talk about your unique situation. If you are a pastor looking to have your own seminar, please reach out to me again at 714-475-8629. If you happen to be in the Richmond area, please reach out to Pastor Redic. He is a part of the team hoping to have an impact in his community of Richmond on homeownership, and looking for other pastors to join him as well as we work together to make a difference. We need more believers, more African Americans and African American churches to become homeowners. And one way we can do it is by working together. Again, I want to thank Carolyn Sunseri. If you're interested in talking with Carolyn, please let me know. Her contact information is also on the screen. reach out to her. She'd be happy to talk with you about the Golden State Finance Authority and the great work they're doing to support homeownership. Now, the Golden State Finance Authority does work through lenders. First Bank is an approved lender with the Golden State Finance Authority. And so any questions in regard to loan programs, I am here to support your questions. Thank you again for participating today. Please share this webinar, invite others to register and watch at their own convenience. And we would appreciate getting your feedback either directly to Pastor Redic or to me. Let us know what you think about this information. If you have any questions whatsoever, drop me an email at eric.frazier@fbol.com, eric.frazier@fbol.com, or you can reach me at eric.frazier@thepowerisnow.com. Remember, we are at our best and we maximize our success in life and in general when we act now. The power is now to buy. Thank you for watching.
The Power is Now Media is worldwide with growing audience of future homebuyers, investors, builders, developers, real estate agents, and brokers. The Power is Now Media is well positioned to increase awareness and produce results for our growing roster of advertising partners. An advertisement on any of our platforms is the right step toward reaching and communicating key brand messages to a targeted network of individuals, families, and communities interested in housing. Our content areas include feature stories and profiles on successful real estate agents, business owners, government, and community leaders. The Power is Now magazines are the leading resource for real estate agents, mortgage bankers, entrepreneurs, and small homeownership businesses, providing leaders with business strategy information, resources, and tools through PIN, real estate, and programming guide magazines. Stay up to the minute with real estate and mortgage news and information from industry experts. VIP agents are able to feature listings each week. The Power is Now TV radio podcast features weekly shows that include Homebuyers Town Hall, Real Estate Roundtable, VIP Agent Spotlight, and so much more. Each week, VIP agents have opportunities to be featured guests on the shows. VIP agents can discuss and showcase houses, neighborhoods, and provide brief introduction. The interviews are unlimited 10 to 15 minutes on each current listing. This product alone separates you from your competition. The Power is Now delivers to you market update interview to promote listing weekly, promotional biographical video, co-host a bi-monthly Homebuyers Town Hall show, featured subject matter expert on Real Estate Roundtable show, The Power is Now Program Guide e-magazine, The Power is Now National e-magazine, article writing and blogging, social media content customization, inclusion and press releases, graphic design services, business and performance coaching, technology support, referrals, lead generation opportunities, and management support.